Prosecutor Wojciech Szczesniak, who has been in charge of the Szczecin prosecutor's office for the past 2 weeks, has withdrawn the motion to lift the immunity of Senator Tomasz Grodzki. Here is an excerpt from the justification. Cannot be considered that the version of events involving Mr. Tomasz Grodzki presented in the motion for the waiver of parliamentary immunity, fulfilling the elements of crimes of public prosecution, was the only correct and legitimate version. It is noteworthy that Wojciech Szczesniak was nominated by neo-prosecutor Jacek Bilewicz, appointed by Minister of Justice Adam Bodnar as acting national prosecutor. The decision is curious in that it whitewashes suspicions only against Senator Tomasz Grodzki, but not against the other suspects in the case. The prosecutor's office first requested that the immunity of the then Senate Speaker Tomasz Grodzki be lifted to bring charges against him 3 years ago. As we can see, to this day it has not been done. Grodzki has continued to hide from justice behind his immunity. As of today, no one wants to take it away from him anymore.
Gdyby zarzuty były poważne,
If the charges were serious and if there was a vote to lift immunity, I would vote in favour because I believe that Speaker Grodzki would have nothing to fear.
Grodzki nie miałby się czego obawiać.
It is interesting what Senator Szczesniak says, because when the motion to lift Grodzki's immunity was put to the vote less than 2 years ago, he joined the Civic Coalition senators and voted against it.
Immunitet został wpisany do konstytucji.
Immunity was written into the Constitution to protect people doing public activities from charges by someone who might be suspected of impartiality, so that they may freely exercise their mandate.
Po to, żeby mógł swobodnie wykonywać swój mandat.
The suspicions against Tomasz Grodzki are just the tip of the iceberg. His colleagues from the Transplantation Assistance Foundation, Juliusz P., Bartosz K. and Krzysztof K. have been charged with the crime of money laundering. It was established that payments from 217 patients totaling more than 2,300,000 zloty were accepted. The originator and initiator of the method of accepting the payments was said to be the then director of the specialized hospital in Szczecin-Zdunowo, Professor Tomasz Grodzki.
Z powszechnej wiedzy, z przestrzeni medialnej.
We know from common knowledge, from the media space, we have information that indicates that there are very strong grounds for such proceedings to take place against Mr. Speaker Grodzki, where we have serious allegations of a crime of a corrupt nature.
Poważne zarzuty o przestępstwa o charakterze korupcyjnym.
It is apparent that the so-called Newman principle still applies. As long as you are on the civic platform, you will be defended like independence.
Gdyby stanął przed Wysokim Sądem, gdyby mógł przedstawić swoją...
If he had stood before the High Court, if he had been able to present his version of events, we would have had a sense that justice, or the justice system, would have worked.
Sprawiedliwość, czy system i wymiar sprawiedliwości.
Po to były te wybory, żeby...
This is what the elections were for, so that the politicians of the civic platform could take advantage of a situation in which they are not asked unnecessary questions.
Niepotrzebnych pytań.
And if someone has the courage to ask questions and describe the accounts of witnesses to alleged crimes, then Tomasz Grodzki sues them. The trouble is that they take place behind closed doors, and the senator does not allow media coverage.
Bardzo wielu kolegów pana Grodzkiego.
Very many of Mr. Grodzki's colleagues from his hospital have charges and are accused of very serious crimes in the case of the criminal organization allegedly headed by Speaker Grodzki.
Miał stać sam pan marszałek Grodzki.
The remaining suspects face sentences of up to 10 years in prison. This raises the question of whether the new leadership of the prosecutor's office will also drop these charges against the 30 suspects in the case. Łukasz Muda, TV Republika.